Presenting
The Complete
Orson Welles
and the Mercury Theater on the Air in The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells.
This is Orson Welles, speaking from London.
as the third man.
Stand by.
We'll be on the air in 15 seconds, Mr. Wells. Yes, I know.
Stand by, everybody.
Mercury Theater on the Air presents Orson Welles as Count Dracula in his own version of Bram Stoker's great novel,
Who knows
Dracula.
what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows.
Hello world, welcome to The Complete Orson Welles, brought to you by Dwayne Old Time Radio. This podcast will feature various classic radio programs ranging mostly from 1936 to 1952 that Orson either produced and directed, was featured on, or starred as a guest. If you enjoy my podcast, you can subscribe to receive notifications of new posts. Subscribing is free and only takes a moment. New episodes are posted weekly. If inclined, please leave a rating and or review on your preferred podcast service. Thank you for your support. Hope you enjoyed the genius of Mr. Welles. This week we have 2 episodes from Lady Esther. 2 episodes because they are both partial episodes. It is not possible to find the full versions of these episodes. The first episode had 3 stories. There's a Full Moon Tonight, The Black Pearl, and Annabel Lee, a poem by Edgar Allan Poe. This recording does not have There's a Full Moon Tonight, but it does have The Black Pearl and Annabel Lee. And it aired October 6, 1941. Second is another episode, the 4th episode to be exact, from the Lady Esther program. And it has 2 stories in it. The first is If in Years to Come, which is only a partial of that story. And the second is Dorothy Parker Poetry, which is read by Lucille Ball. Dorothy Parker was a very famous poet, satirist, and writer in the early to mid 20th century. This episode aired October 13th, 1941.
I've been cold and hungry so many times in my life, I'm scared of being poor. I wanted something to protect me against having to fight to keep alive, and it was beautiful, too. You know, beautiful, I don't know, in some kind of a way, this pearl means beautiful things. It means love, because it brought us together. Oh, you don't understand. Nobody could. Well, go on. Go on. I'm ready to die.
No, Mealy. I cannot do it. This pearl, it brought me wisdom. Without it, I would still be an Indian boy diving for pearls in the Bay of Puerto Verde. I've learned much since then. No, my sweet Millie. I do not want to hurt you. You do not hurt what you love. The pearl belongs to Senor Wilson. I must return it.
They'll arrest you. They'll arrest you for murder. Honey, why do you look like that?
Behind you. In the door. Senor Doc.
Hello, Ignacio.
Senor Doc. Senor Doc, how are you? How are you, Senor Doc? You look so tired.
I've been looking. They found the truck at the bottom of the cliff. They thought you were killed. But I found you.
I didn't steal the pearl, Senor Doc. Please.
I know. I was here at the door all the time. I heard.
I take it back to Senor Wilson.
No, you mustn't let him. They'll get him for murder. Why don't you take him back?
Me? No. I must take the black pearl to Senor Wilson myself.
I'm afraid he's right, miss. Ignacio must take it himself. They'll arrest him, but Pancho and I will testify it was self-defense. Magician had a gun out. Besides, he didn't die.
Sure. I go myself. I go now to Puerto Verde.
Aren't you going to say goodbye to the lady?
Adios, Millie.
Adios, Ignacio. Well, I've been saving, and after a while, maybe I'd get enough together for a boat.
Swell. What are you going to call the boat?
What am I going to call the boat?
I know what he'll call it. Millie. That's a good name for a boat, Millie.
Won't take long. Maybe I'll get a little fat.
Oh, come on, Ignacio. Does everybody have to do everything for you? Tell her to wait for you.
Wait for me? Wait for me. See, Millie. You wait for Ignacio. You wait for him, Millie. And maybe when I come back, I bring you another black pearl.
That was The Black Pearl. And here's the cast. Millie was played by Dorothy Commongore. If you've seen Citizen Kane, I don't have to say anything about her. She plays Susie, the second Mrs. Kane, and Life magazine says her performance is comparable in intensity only to Betty Davis's in Of Human Bondage. Mercury is very proud of her. Joseph Cotton, who played Senor Doc tonight in The Black Pearl, made another big hit in Citizen Kane, and it looks like Joe's going to be a really enormous and glittering Hollywood star, but he promises never to leave us. He's been part of the Mercury since it started.
Just as a point of statistics, Orson, may I make a point of statistics?
Go ahead, Joe.
As far as Mercury plays are concerned, I mean the stage productions, it just happens I've been in more of them than you have.
Joe, I think I've got the record in the radio department.
I think he's right, Joe. Go ahead, Pappy. Introduce yourself.
Good evening. This is Ray Collins.
You don't have to run away with the idea. Just say hello.
Hello.
Go on, since you're taking over. Tell them what you played.
Well, I played Wong, the magician. 3 other Mercury veterans, Paul Stewart, Edgar Barrier, and Erskine Stanford played Wilson, Master of Ceremonies, and Norega, in the order named. Orson
you know
was
Erskine. Ray, you know Erskine well enough to pronounce his name right. Say that again.
Erskine Stanford?
That's right, yes.
Tell him what I played.
Tell him what I played.
Orson was Ignacio.
Thanks, Ray. And now, before our next offering, ladies and gentlemen, here's a word from Lady Esther.
Did you ever realize how much your fingertips can... The Chinese, you know, can tell the quality of a piece of jade just by the touch of the fingers. And South Sea divers can tell the value of a pearl by rolling it gently between thumb and finger. Yes, and there's something your fingers can tell you right now. Something important about your skin. Just close your eyes and run your fingers slowly, gently over your face. Now, what do you feel as your fingers touch your skin? Do you feel any dry, scaly patches here and there? Do you feel any little bumps near your nose or around your chin? You know, if your skin feels rough and uneven, it may be that the mouths of the pores are clogged. That's usually due to some fault of skin care. Perhaps the cream you use doesn't really remove the dirt and impurities from the mouths of the pores, doesn't really clean your skin. But women who use Lady Esther face cream take no such risk. They say you can see and feel how thoroughly it cleans the skin. But Lady Esther cream does far more than just a cleansing cream alone. Does more than just a cold cream or foundation cream. It does everything these creams do and more, for it's a complete beauty treatment in itself. Yes, Lady Esther Four-Purpose Face Cream takes care of all the essential needs of your skin. It cleanses the skin, softens it, relieves dryness. It smooths the skin and prepares it beautifully for makeup and powder. So if you want a modern, simplified method of skin care, use Lady Esther Four-Purpose Face Cream. See how quickly it helps give your skin a fresh, clean, radiant new texture.
October 6th, 1941. This week, the planet Mars is closer to the Earth than it has been for 15 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's no cause for alarm. Science assures us that Mars is 38 million miles away.
Well, anyway, it's nice that Mars is in the news again this week because this is a Mercury Theater anniversary. To be exact, today is our official birthday. Tomorrow is Jenny Lind's, the great soprano who was called the Swedish Nightingale. She'd been born a century later. She'd be just 21 years old. Tomorrow is the anniversary of the death of one of our greatest American poets. On October 7th, in the year of the great gold rush, Edgar Allan Poe died. Tonight, I'd like to read one of his best and best love verses, Annabel Lee. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child, and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love. I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee, so that a highborn kingdom came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of a cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we. And neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in the sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. That was Poe's Annabel Lee, and the music was especially composed for it, as is all our music, by Bernard Herrmann. And now here's a word from Lady Esther.
Have you ever looked at a luscious, tempting dessert and said, too rich for me? Well, that's also true of skin care. I mean, using a lot of face creams can be too rich for your skin. But today, you don't need a lot of different preparations. You don't need a separate cleansing cream, a cold cream, a softening cream. You see, Lady Esther 4-Purpose Face Cream does everything these creams do and more. It's a complete beauty treatment because it does all these essential things. First, it thoroughly cleanses your skin. Second, it softens your skin and relieves dryness. Third, it helps beautify your skin, helps nature refine the pores. And fourth, it smooths your skin, prepares it for makeup. So you can say goodbye to all other creams and lotions when you start using Lady Esther 4-Purpose Face Cream.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's a full moon tonight. The hurricane that hit Florida didn't turn out as badly as they expected. It's been pretty hot in the east, but the temperature's been below normal in all the western states. They've had some thunderstorms around the Great Lakes. Item: the United States Naval Medical School says that shaving does not make the beard grow faster. Natural history note: giraffes are not only the tallest animals in the world, but they can see in the back of them without turning their heads. Interesting fact: the pounding and banging in hot water and steam pipes is called water hammer Item.
Wait a minute, Orson.
What is it, Dorothy?
I don't think that's an interesting fact at all.
I do. Banging in hot water pipes is called water hammer. It's silly.
It isn't silly at all, Joe. That's what it's called, water hammer.
Suppose it is.
Why bring it up now?
Everybody's heard steam pipes banging. I just thought it was of some interest to know what it's called.
We know, water hammer.
Yes, it's also called hydraulic shock.
Oh, is that so, Ray? I didn't know that.
Oh, yes.
I suppose that's another interesting fact.
Now, wait a minute, Joe. I think you're being smug.
Yeah, so do I.
Bits of information like this give a certain flavor to the program and to
I
one's
agree
general
with that,
knowledge.
but I just don't think this particular bit of information is worth bothering about.
Perhaps you have some information that is, Joe.
Yes, let's see what you think is an interesting fact.
Well, you know how we talk about digging a hole straight down to China?
Yes.
It isn't true.
It isn't?
No. You wouldn't come out at China at all.
Well, where would you come out?
Interesting fact. A hole dug straight down in the United States would come out not in China, but in the Indian Ocean.
Well, I give up. That is an interesting fact, Joe.
Yes, not only interesting, Orson, but instructive. It'll save a lot of embarrassment for those of us contemplating the trip.
Profound and disturbing saying. Can I give one of those? Is that all right with
Yeah,
everybody?
sure.
Profound and disturbing saying. With all the multiplicity of knowledge there is, just one thing, happily, that no man knows. Whether the world is old or young. With which we leave you. Thanks for listening. If there's any story you'd like us to do for you, please write me about it. Till next week, then, speaking for Lady Esther and for everybody in the Mercury Theater, I remain, as always, obediently yours.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. KNX, Columbia Square, Los Angeles.
Jimmy? Oh, I thought perhaps you'd missed the train.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ruth.
This is my roommate, Mildred Dean, and Mr. Fisher.
How do you do?
Mr. Fiss. How do you do?
What's your college, Fizz? I'm working now. Oh. Well, should we get a cab?
Oh, you and Mildred go on. Jimmy and I will come on later.
You and I took another cab. It smelled of old leather and stale tobacco.
It's good to see you, Jimmy.
I'm sorry about that day, Coach.
As if that mattered.
I'd like very much to kiss you.
Just this once.
At the hotel, I asked the clerk how much the cheapest room was, and when he told me $3, I told him I'd be back. I walked around till I saw a sign, rooms for rent. I went in.
Yes? What do you want?
I'd like a room to dress in. Won't need it after 8 o'clock. How much will that be?
50 cents. And you can have the use of the bathroom if you don't take too long.
I took it and dressed. I couldn't tie my tie, and I went downstairs, and the landlady tied it. Had my other things in my grip, and I checked them at the station and walked toward the campus where your sorority house was.
This is Mr. Fisk.
Hello, Fisk. Didn't see you at the hotel. How do you do? Room have you? 306. Yeah, that's odd. Fred and I are sharing 307. Funny we didn't run into you. I don't remember exactly what my number is. Maybe I'm wrong.
Jimmy, the others are taking cabs, but I'd rather walk if you don't mind. It isn't far.
I'd like that.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
See you at the dance.
Sure thing, Ruthie.
Jimmy, I want you to have a good time. You are having a good time, aren't you, Jimmy?
Yes, only
Only what, Jimmy?
I see that all the other girls are wearing flowers, and I never thought about bringing you any. I'm sorry.
The flowers don't matter. Nothing matters now. Only that you're here.
Darling.
I like to think, dear, that I carried on through the evening. I tried as best I could to talk to your friends in their language, and if I failed, it was not for lack of trying. Most of the girls, and the fellows too, asked me what my college was and what fraternity I belonged to. I didn't know how to answer, just tried to kid them. Eat a bite of pie, I said my fraternity was. We eat pie every night before we go to bed, I said. Didn't go over very well. The tuxedo I'd rented got baggy at the knees, and the left shoulder developed a marvelous sag, and my dress shirt bulged. I wanted to tell you goodbye at the dance, but you said no.
You were going to the station with me. You asked Bill Fisher to come down and get you at 2:30 after the train left.
We'd better stop at the hotel first and pick up your bag, Jimmy.
It's no use, Ruth. I can't lie to you. I didn't stay at the hotel. I rented a room somewhere for 50 cents. The suit I'm wearing is rented, and it's the first one I ever wore, and my landlady had to tie my tie for me. My suitcase is checked at the station, and... Oh, well, it is just a mistake, my coming here at all. I just don't belong, that's all there is to it.
Oh, Jimmy, I did so want you to have a good time. And you didn't have a good time, did you?
No. There was a mist of tears in your eyes. You were seeing me for the first time for what I was. I thought the glamour of Jimmy Fisk was gone. And all you saw now was a small-town boy in an ill-fitting suit who'd ridden to the sophomore hop in a day coach, forgotten to send you flowers.
Here's the train now. Well, it's time to say goodbye.
Goodbye, Ruth. Ruth, darling, if in years to come you should think of me once in a while, remember that I love you very much.
Oh, Jim, don't say that.
I thought you meant that I shouldn't say I loved you. But I opened my arms, for this was our last minute together. And you came into them. Your silver-embroidered coat against my worn brown one.
What?
I kissed you. And you smiled up at me through your tears.
Goodbye, dear. Goodbye.
Goodbye. I wrote you a letter. My pride was hurt. Because I was young, there was only an aching void where my heart had been. And I wrote things I should never have written. You didn't answer. I know now that you never could have answered that letter. In February, my firm sent me to Chicago. We were expanding, and all the talk about sending music through the air was becoming a reality. Our firm had a great future because we were in on the ground floor. Finally, my mother laid away her thimble for the last time, and we shook the dust of the town off our feet. Do you remember, dear? But most of all, do you remember the day, a few years later, when we met by accident on Barrett Street in front of a delicatessen store? There were still the same pink roses in your cheeks and the gold specks in your eyes.
Jimmy.
Ruth. Oh. If in years to come, do you remember?
Oh, I do. I do remember. Dear, I love you. I love you very, very much indeed.
That was 26 years ago. The anniversary of our marriage. And you're worried now, dear, as your mother was once worried over you about Betty Lou. She's 18. She thinks she's in love with Bill McKim. But she's your daughter, our daughter. And there are specks of gold in her eyes, too. I'm asking you to let Bill have his chance. Decide about him after you've read this clumsy attempt to recreate our own romance. It's my anniversary present to you. Perhaps we can ask Bill McKim to our dinner at the country club. Bill will probably be ill at ease. He'll probably wear rented evening clothes and a bulging shirt. He won't know the right things to say.
A long time ago, you invited a poor boy to a sophomore hop. Do you remember? That was a story by Earl Reed Silvers called If in Years to Come. Marcia Hunt played Ruth, Agnes Moorehead was Jimmy's mother, and Jimmy himself was your obedient servant. Just a minute, we bring you Lucille Ball. But right now, here's a word from Lady Esther.
Do you like riddles? Well, here's one that's simple to figure out. When is your powder puff an enemy instead of a friend? And here's the answer. When you use it to repowder your face. When you use it to put powder on top of powder. Because, you see, putting powder on powder makes your skin look dry, caked, and streaky. And that's why it's so important to use a face powder that really clings. Now, women who use Lady Esther face powder say it clings so long and so well, they don't need to repowder even once during a whole evening. So they don't need to worry about caked powder or streaky skin. I know you, too, will be thrilled when you see how Lady Esther face powder stays with you hour after hour, and how that smooth, lovely, freshly powdered look stays with you as well.
October 13th, 1941. Tomorrow is the anniversary of the Battle of Hastings. On that day, William the Conqueror successfully carried off his invasion of England, a feat that hasn't been repeated since. He was the last man to come ashore, and as he stepped out of his boat, he fell flat on his face. Everybody thought this was a bad omen, but I guess it wasn't. Noah Webster, who wrote Webster's Dictionary, was born 183 years ago this week. They tell a story about Webster, Webster's secretary, Webster's wife, and Webster's own great feeling for words. We like the story so much, we're going to give it a little production. The scene? Noah Webster's library. Noah, played by Lucky Joe Cotton, is seated on his favorite chair, and his secretary, played by Lucille Ball, is seated on Noah. There is a knock at the door. The door opens, and there stands Mrs. Webster, played by Marcia Hunt.
Well, Noah, I'm surprised.
My dear, your use of the English language is miserably inaccurate. You are shocked. I am surprised.
Thank you, Miss Hunt. Thank you, Miss Ball. Thank you, Mr. Cotton. And thank you, Mr. Herman, Bernard Herman, who composes and conducts the music for this program. Now we come to our second item. Two ladies are responsible for this, the Mrs. Parker and Ball. Parker, Dorothy Parker, has yet to be universally bracketed as a major poetess. I don't know why. I don't know precisely what makes major poetry. Big themes, I guess. Of this I'm perfectly certain, however. Nobody's themes were ever more interesting than Dorothy Parker's, and surely no singer of songs has ever presented us with sweeter sour grapes. Also, I do think we're most fortunate tonight in our choice of artiste for the declamation of same. We proudly present Lucille Ball in A Tiny Garland of Poetry by Dorothy Parker. Inventory.
4 be the things I am wiser to know: idleness, sorrow, a friend, and a foe. 4 be the things I'd been better without: love, curiosity, freckles, and doubt. 3 be the things I shall never attain: envy, content, and sufficient champagne. 3 be the things I shall have till I die: laughter and hope and a sock in the eye.
Resume.
Razors pain you, rivers are damp, acids stain you, and drugs cause cramp. Guns aren't lawful, nooses give, gas smells awful, you might as well live.
The choice.
He'd have given me rolling lands, houses of marble and billowing farms, pearls to trickle between my hands, smoldering rubies to circle my arms. You'd only a lilting song, only a melody, happy and high. You were sudden and swift and strong. Never a thought for another had I. He'd have given me laces rare, dresses that glimmered with frosty sheen, shining ribbons to wrap in my hair, horses to draw me as fine as a queen. You'd only to whistle low. Gaily I followed wherever you led. I took you and I let him go. Somebody ought to examine my head.
Pictures in the smoke.
Oh, gallant was the first love, and glittering and fine. The second love was water in a clear white cup. The third love was his, and the fourth was mine, and after that I always get them all mixed up.
Thanks, Lucille. Well, it looks like our time's just about up. Next week we bring you Ann Baxter, Tim Holt, Ray Collins, Robert Warwick, and the Mercury's prodigal son, Everett Sloane. We've got a couple of stories we think you like. And by the way, please write us what stories you do like. I mean the stories you'd like us to do. This is your show, and we want you to enjoy it. Please remember that Lady Esther and all of us in the Mercury Theater remain always obediently yours.
Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thank you for listening to and showing your support for my podcast. If you would like to receive notifications of when new episodes are posted, please subscribe to my channel. Subscriptions are 100% free, and they really help me get an idea of how I'm doing. You can also go to my website where you can listen to all of my podcasts for free, and you can also download episodes for free. The website is otr.duane.media. There is also donation information on there if you want to show your support or become a patron. You can email me at info@otr.duane.media. I'm also on Instagram at duane.otr. Well, hope you enjoyed, and until next time, stay safe, wish you well, and as always, peace.